I don't know, bro. What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. Today we're going to talk about Manchester United versus Villa and what's going to happen with Ten Hag over the international break. We're also going to discuss the international break and England's team and how we kind of see the matches and the players for the break. We're also going to talk Chelsea Forest. Some things happened in that game, and hopefully Neil will join. We'll talk Southampton versus Arsenal. We got Lee here for that. Tell me what happened. Tell me what happened. And I got some questions about that game too. West Ham versus Ipswich. We'll talk about how David Moyes' old players saved Lopetegui's ass and gave West Ham fans something to smile about over the break. Crystal Palace coach, will he still be Crystal Palace coach by the end of the break? Will Southampton's coach be Southampton's coach after the break? Will Wolves coach be Wolves coach after the break? There's a lot of heads on the coaching chopping block. And we'll talk Brighton versus Tottenham because Tottenham spurs it up and we got to enjoy that. You know what I'm saying? We got to make a meal out of that. And we got fantasy league. We'll talk Fulham City a little bit. Man, that game could have went either way. What's up, Lee? How you doing? Southampton fan, stand-up comic, great stand-up comic. How you feeling this weekend?
I'm feeling better than I did last weekend after the loss to Bournemouth. That's for sure.
Mm.
I'm in a better place.
Because Bournemouth, you felt was a chance to get points. Is that it?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it felt like a letdown that game. Felt like there was no fight. Whereas this week it felt like we made an effort.
I know you guys took the lead. Ballsy Southampton. Yeah.
Yeah, we tried.
Yeah, you did try. You did try. I guess let's deal with like the press ain't even talking about football in England. They're just talking about doing their due diligence to get Ten Hag out of there. And that's what it feels like from here. Like, it doesn't matter, like, if somebody scored a hat trick or did well this weekend. Now, it doesn't matter how well Saka played in the Southampton game. It doesn't matter how exposed Man City were against Fulham. Traore has multiple choices, and him alone could have put away City this weekend. The Forest Chelsea game went kind of how we expected and talked about it. And your boy Ward Prowse, was he taking one for the team? And in the true sense, and we're gonna talk, but let's just get into why am I sidestepping this United thing? I don't know. We tied versus Villa, and midweek we tied versus Porto. Now Porto we were supposed to take an L. That's what everybody thought. Porto beat Arsenal last year in the Champions League, and I think they're having a decent season in Portugal. The way we're playing, nobody expected us to beat Porto, but that in itself is a problem because you're not supposed to look at us before a game versus Porto, Man United, that is, and be like, if we get a point versus Porto, then that's a good thing. So, we should our season should have been so good that we're like, we got a really good chance to beat Porto, and 3-3 would have been more of a disappointment more than just the saving of a coach. But the way we've been playing, it's more like saving and getting that point at the end with 10 men kind of what's like it gives Eric Ten Hag a stay of execution. And that game was weird because we're down 3-2 and you sub out the two defenders that you bought and put in the old ones. And I would say old, I mean old, Johnny Evans old. You know what I mean? Johnny Evans old should be like a new age group, Now, how old is he? Johnny Evans old? How old is she? Johnny Evans old? How many months is your child? How old is your child? Johnny Evans age. And Johnny Evans months old. You know what I mean? So, and then somehow with these old dudes, he gets a point. And then it's weird because then against Aston Villa, who you have to not lose. And it's another team that we were expected to get beat by, which is another problem to be like, this is going to be tough versus Man United versus Villa. This is going to be tough for Man United, not Villa. And he better not get pounded down there or he's out. And so then to go in there as an underdog and not lose, we had more shots or made shots on target. Possession was pretty much equal against a team that's supposed to be superior. And to leave there 0-0 is basically like a win for Ten Hag, but not really for Man United fans. You know what I mean? So just talking about that game in particular, like we set up more defensively. And we can't say it was just counter-attacking football because we had more possession in the first half than they did. And then in the second half, they went a little bit over our possession. So it's not like but we would definitely set up more defensive. And we're going to keep Ten Hag. We have to find a way to set up as defensive as we did against Villa and also be effective going forward. I think our defensive setup prevented them from scoring on us, but it also prevented us from being as attacking as we were in the games before. So we got to figure that out. Do we give Erik Ten Hag the time to figure that out? I don't know. I'm indifferent. Like when I look at this team, I feel like I don't think any of us had made bad buys, or even Ten Hag has made bad buys. Erik Ten Hag. I mean, I feel like this team should be playing better. Can another coach make them play better? I feel like another coach could make them feel better. Do I feel like Erik Ten Hag could make them feel better? Yeah, but I'm not sure. But who is this new coach who's going to make these players play better? Is it Tuchel? Is there somebody we don't know about? I don't know. So I do want us to come back from the international break, though, playing better than we are. And whatever we need to do, if there's an answer from the universe to point the finger in the direction we need to go, universe, it's time for you to step up and tell us who. Like, because I wouldn't even be surprised if it is Erik Ten Hag. We just have to wait for it. But I'm definitely not surprised if it's someone else. Before I talk about the game more, I'll let you interject. You know, if you got any questions or thoughts.
I mean, I heard that there's a meeting that happens apparently monthly in London with Jim Ratcliffe and Berrada and Wilcox and Ashworth and like all the guys, Dave Brailsford, all the guys that are involved on that level. And apparently that meeting is tomorrow for this month. And apparently because they were all at the Villa game. I saw someone on Twitter describing it as United assembling the Boardroom Avengers. It's like Ferguson was in there as well. They were all sat there like in a row against a
bunch of old white dudes Avengers, business Avengers,
football business Avengers at Villa Park. And yeah, just sort of saying that's that apparently his future will be discussed at that meeting. This is United's worst start to a league season for 35 years, which so you can't ignore that. I don't think it's disastrous, but it's not good. And it's just it's a weird one because I feel like with fans and even with myself, like I grew up. I've said this before on the pod that I grew up, in the 90s when United were like the team, biggest club in the country, one of the biggest clubs in the world, just dominating, winning the league every year, winning all sorts of things. And then, you know, it's like, do people have to sort of accept that that's the past and you're in a different place, and expectations need to be realigned with sort of the state of the Premier League, because the Premier League is way more competitive now, not necessarily at the top, because obviously it's between sort of Man City and Arsenal really, but from sort of 1 to 20 is way more competitive than it used to be. And, you know, teams have caught up financially, teams have caught up, you know, quality wise, and it's a hard league. And, you know, a couple of results can see you slide down. Like you guys are in, I think you started a little bit higher up, and then now you're
Don't
down
say
in
the number.
14th.
Don't say the number. Thank you. She said the number. Jesus. You didn't have to say that.
Yeah, and you know, now you guys are 14th, but equally we're what, 7 games, 8 games
8
in, and so league position, you know,
Might be
unless
7.
you're,
Might be 7.
yeah, like league position is still to some extent not that relevant. You know, you need to wait for things to shake out a bit more, which is why people normally end up pulling the trigger like near Christmas,
Right.
rather than right now. So I think the main questions that the board will have to face is like, are the players behind him? And I don't know if they have to speak to the players to find that out, or if they can just get a sense of it, or if they go and, you know, watch some training sessions and just see what the vibe is, because they're the things that we can't tell fully from the outside. You might be able to tell it from like some body language on the field and things like that, but we can't fully know.
The Porto game would say no.
Yeah, the players fought until the end to get back in that game.
Right.
But then you never know. You know, is that personal or professional pride, or is that they're doing it for the manager? You know, I don't know what those relationships are like behind closed doors, and that will be, I think, something that will dictate which way that conversation goes. Like I said, personally, I think it's still a little bit too early. I think he deserves a slightly little bit more time. I think he's bought that credit with, you know, winning a couple of trophies. But equally, you know, if I saw after they'd had that meeting tomorrow that they decided to fire him, I wouldn't be that surprised, kind of thing. It's like, I think he's reaching that zone where it could go either way, and you know, I wouldn't be too surprised if they show some patience, but equally I wouldn't be surprised if they fired him. It's in that kind of middle ground. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see, you know, how that goes, what the thoughts are, because it's short of the standards that we've expected of Man United. And if, you know, if the club are serious about returning to that top, you know, echelon of clubs, that top group of clubs in English football, then it's like right now you're not looking like you're moving in that direction. And that's the thing. I think, like, I don't think I've seen much improvement under Ten Hag. It feels like it's just sort of been at the same sort of level the whole way along. I think individual players he can maybe point to if he's trying to defend himself and his record. You know, he's brought academy players through and played them and developed them. You know, Garnacho and Mainu, you know, these guys. So there are some positives there, but I just think in terms of the overall like performance of the team, I haven't really seen much improvement since the Oli days.
Yeah, based on what you're saying, it's like there's good things about Ten Hag being there. There's the trophies, there's the first season, there's the youth players, and then there's the stats that go against him. You know, we're 14th, but then you say we're only 6 points out of 4th, which is not insurmountable.
It's early.
And it's so early, you know what I mean? So there's like good things. This shit is not black or white, but we need this shit to be black, or we need this shit to be white. But by the time it's black or white, we don't know if it's too late. If it's is it going to be good black, or is it going to be bad white, or vice versa? So by the time, and how much time into the season is it going to be before it's one or the other? So it's tough, but you know, man, a good board. This is also where the board earns their money, right? It's not
Mhm.
like the coach has to do things to get wins, to get points, to keep his job. And the
Yeah.
board has to make tough decisions for them to be a real championship level board. And this is it. So Eric did his thing on the pitch, whether he did it enough or not. And now it's the board's turn to be like, Manchester United hired you guys. Like, what are you guys going to do to be
Mm.
like on the level of Man City, on the level of whoever picks players or makes big decisions for Real Madrid or Barcelona or any of the top teams in the history of football? Like, you know, like to keep him is a huge decision and to get rid of him is a huge decision. But whatever decision
Mm.
you make, you talk about old Man United and how we used to perform on the pitch. We need an old Man United great decision by the board decision, like
Mm.
old school, like that level of like we know how to move. Manchester United used to know how to move on and off the pitch. A board, it's on you. Like make a, the best decision possible. So now it's on the board.
Mm.
And as far as do you have anything to say to that? And then I'll move to the actual game. I don't have much to say about the actual game, but I do have some thoughts.
Yeah, I don't know if the decision will rest on the availability of who they want as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they want Tuchel and they've spoken to him, I don't know if they've spoken to him and he says like, I'm ready, then it might be that they need to go and get him now in case, you know, someone loses their job at another big European club
Yeah,
and he gets snatched up. So I don't know if that will dictate the timing of it as well. Um, but yeah, it's a tough call. They're going to need to be ruthless either way.
yes,
Um, and yeah, it's not an easy decision, but like I say, I wouldn't be surprised whichever way it goes because it's in that sort of middle ground for me right now of being warranted or not warranted.
yeah. But we'll see. We'll see. And as far as the game versus Villa, I was talking to Lloyd before the Champions League game versus Bayern, Villa versus Bayern.
Mm.
And I was like, man, I really want you guys to win this. This is, you know, and he's like, what are you up to? I said, no, man, I just, I'm kind of a Villa fan because of you. We talk a few times a week, especially when the season's on about Villa. And I
Mm.
know more about Villa than I do about other teams. So I'm like, I want you to win. So you up to something? And he's like, I just hope we don't get embarrassed. I'm like, what type of attitude is that, bro? Like, you hope you don't get embarrassed. But just on that game alone, like the fans created such an atmosphere at that stadium on that
Mm.
day. They gave it all, like before the game, like full in-game mode enthusiasms and tifos. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm.
that game, they just, Villa versus Bayern, like to be in the Champions League. You handle young boys and then you handle Bayern, you won. And that's what I wanted. I wanted Villa to win because I knew how much it would take to win and that they would be on
Mm.
E coming into this game. And they did lose some players in that game that couldn't play in this game. And even emotionally, I was telling Lloyd that your fans were tired from that game. That the
Mm.
fans didn't even recover to like bring that atmosphere to a Man United game. That's two big games back to back. You played Bayern in the Champions League, and any game against Man United is like this is your chance, Villa. But the fans didn't even have it to give the players, and then they didn't have a lot of starters. They didn't have Ramsey. There was no McGinn. There was no who else starts for them. Uh, I don't know why they didn't use Buendia.
Mm.
They started Ross Barkley. No Onana. No Onana. And
Mhm.
then the players who did play for Villa, they didn't have it. And then the way we set up, very stubborn, like great shape. Even in the first half, I think we got most of the compliments from the crew that was calling the game. And then we just held out against them. We had the better chances, more clear-cut chances. Not that they were a bunch. Rashford had a shot. Bruno hit the post. Garnacho had a shot that was easily saved by Emi Martinez. But there was one thing towards the end that Villa had a chance, but this was tame. The game was slow. There was a lot of stoppages, and the pace was just the pace United needed for that old ass set of defenders who Eric Ten Hag chose to start as our center back crew, which was like, man, this dude's trying to get fired. You know what I'm saying? But somehow Maguire and Evans held out. Well, Maguire for half. He got injured. So we're back to last season's where defenders get injured, but luckily we have players that we bought to bring in as depth. And Eriksen as a midfielder, he's good on the ball, but how are we going to get the ball to him when he doesn't have the legs to win it? And that's the trouble. And Mainu, as great as he is, he's not like the paciest guy either, which is a shame. Like if he had pace, more pace, he'd be the complete player. So that we have a slow midfield, but also, luckily for us, so much had been taken out of Villa as a team and as emotionally, physically, and mentally from the midweek that we were able to hold them to a 0-0 draw at their place. So now there's more limbo because it's tougher for the board to make a decision. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, that was obviously relevant to speak about the Bayern game because I think it was such a big event for them as well, but like emotionally because it's the first game back in the Champions League. It was the anniversary of the 1982 year, they got there's like the anniversary of the fixture because they played Bayern in '82 when they won, and they had that team there as well, like the players from that like classic historic team were there too, and so it was like it was a real big occasion for them, and like you say, that's like not just physically draining but like emotionally draining. So if you guys turned up focused, you could have taken advantage of that. But then, that game was at home for them. You guys had a hard fought 3-3 in Portugal as well. So I think, that needs to be taken into account. A 0-0 was probably the result you should have expected from two teams that played, draining fixtures for two different reasons midweek. But, there wasn't like that many chances. Like Rodgers had that one that he sort of snatched at in the first half that went past the post, and then Rashford had a couple where he cut in looking for like his sort of signature finish, and the Fernandes free kick off the bar, and then Anthony snatching at the rebound. But all in all, like Onana sort of palmed one away as well. But I don't think there was like a chance where I was like he should have scored that.
Right.
Kind of thing. So 0-0 felt right.
0-0 felt right. And I do want to give Onana props for being a better distributor this year and actually trying to play out the back system and sometimes holding onto the ball longer than I feel safe, but getting it away most of the time. And also sometimes going direct and being accurate about it and giving Rashford some good one-on-one just throughout the whole season, not even just this game. Like he'll put the ball, he'll give Rashford a chance. Rashford, you need to fight harder. For real, bro. You did some in this game, but you just need to fight harder for those. Like when they came up to you and it's just you and the defender, you got to go for that. Like Højlund does a good job of that. Højlund started this game. I feel like we just need to. Sometimes we need to start Xerxes as a 10 or try Ahmad as a 10 and give Bruno a rest. Like his play and just familiarize other players with the position who have some legs, who are good at linking up. And it'd be good to see Xerxes and Højlund play. And it'd be good to see Ahmad, who can find people, play. And he's very he's more physical and athletic, and has more pace than you think. Like just getting more playing time and just having a team where people can't figure out who is going to be where, and they have so many options and choices, like to be less predictable, so I feel like that's another place. And the only thing that will take me over the line to fire Ten Hag was like if you don't play Ahmad. You didn't play Ahmad this game. He's been one of your best players this year. Like if you're gonna lean towards like, because Anthony came in as a sub, if you're gonna lean towards like going back to Anthony, then I'm Ten Hag out, because Ahmad is a baller, and he needs a coach at United to be like, take your chances and go. I feel like Ahmad, he does need to attack more, like Saka does on that same side of the pitch, but I think he could do it. So he needs a coach to like encourage him to go at people more, and because I think he could do it. But he's got everything I like a footballer to have. I just need a coach to like encourage him to show that shit.
Yeah, and you were talking about Rashford needing to fight more there. I think what needs to happen is someone needs to send Marcus Rashford the clip of Martin comparing his career to Dele Alli on the last pod episode, because that should be all the motivation he needs to pull his finger out and be like, people are comparing me to who? Like, I need to do something about this.
Bro, you defended Rashford more on that than he defended us down the left side against Porto midweek in the Europa League. Like, you went hard. You clearing all Martin's jabs into the other half. But yeah, so Marcus Rashford, you got a Southampton person defending you. Come on, fam. Do your mother fucking thing. Remind me to give a shout out to Pulsic and Fiorentina. Let's talk Southampton versus Arsenal, man. Let's get a piece of that.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the starting lineup for this game, and I felt okay about it, but we changed like 4 people from the Bournemouth game. And that's one of the big things that's concerned me this season, is that every week the team changes by like 3 or 4 players minimum, because it's like the manager saying that he doesn't know who the best starting lineup is. And we were a little bit more pragmatic in this game, which people have been calling out for us to be, because saying that the manager plays too open and this and that. We still had some elements of our style of play there, but we had to defend. It's Arsenal. You have to defend. They're going to keep you in your own half, whether you like it or not. In some games, if they want to dominate the ball, we gave it a good fight. First half we went in 0-0. They didn't really. They sort of got into our box a bit, but didn't really have the big chances. And Sterling flopped a couple of times for penalty shouts that weren't penalties. But that's Sterling. When it's not going his way, he'll do that. And then second half it's more of the same kind of thing. But then all of a sudden we pop up on a counter attack. Again, Sterling thinks he's fouled. Mateus Fernandes, who has been one of the real positives for us, the guy we signed from Sporting Lisbon, he's been really consistent out of all our players so far, and he
was good in the Bournemouth game. He was good in the game that you guys played terrible against.
He's a really good player, real technical, but like has the work rate as well. And he picked up he robbed Sterling, got the ball out to Cameron Archer cut inside, and like it was a finesse, like accurate finish into that bottom corner. The away end goes crazy, but I mean, I couldn't even really finish texting my friends before there was an equalizer, which it's annoying that it comes quickly. Like, I don't think Arsenal deserve to be 1-0 down
at
that point in the game, but it's just annoying that it's like if we get one goal, if we just shut them out for a little bit and frustrate them, they get more desperate. But we just it was just back in it, and it came from us holding on to the ball in our own half.
You just took your X back immediately.
Yeah,
After the
which
first
was
knock on the door.
yeah, which was frustrating because I think we could have grown in confidence if we'd hold on to that 1-0 a little bit more. And I think just conceding, even then, I was like, right, do the defensive work. Let's get the 1-1. Let's at least take a point away from here. But then the next goal came fairly quickly as well. So it's just one of them where it's just like, okay, we gave it a good shot, but it wasn't enough. But there was some cameo appearances from some substitutes like Paul Onuachu, who played for the first time this season. He scored like 20 something goals on loan at Trabzonspor last year, who I think they've only just finished paying us for that loan. So he was never going to go there permanently because they didn't have the money. But I mean, he's huge and he's got a good touch and he's skillful as well. So I think we need to use him more because he can really cause some problems for teams. So hopefully we'll see more of him. And first game back after the international break is Leicester. So got to do something in that one.
Yeah, I know you want points from that game. I saw it dibbling stir-fry Calafiori, like.
Oh yeah, he spun him like easy. Yeah,
like with the ball, just like took him out. And I was like, damn, like so that young kid, he keeps doing it against different defenders on different high-class teams every week. Let's see
more
how
confidence
the
every
season
game.
develops. Yeah. I didn't like how they played him the week before, like as a 9. It didn't.
Yeah.
His decision making wasn't the best, and sometimes when he beats people, he tries to beat another person. It's like it's the Prem. Look for a pass.
Yeah.
But
no, that's it. Yeah, better. He's still young. He's still raw. He's still learning, and those things will come. But I mean, just the raw talent that's there is frightening. He can really excite the fans and get people off their seats when he starts running at people. So I think for that reason, he needs to be played in that wide position. And he terrorized Calafiori for a bit in that game, and that was good to see. So that's another bright spot. And apparently he's signing a new contract this week. So at the very least, if he does go, we'll make sure we get a good price. But hopefully he sticks around for a little bit longer.
That's how worried y'all are already that you're going to give him a new contract.
Of course,
that other teams might come try to snatch him up, scoop him in January.
Yeah. He's only on like a youth wage at the moment still.
So since you're stir-frying adults, we're going to pay you like an adult.
That's it. And rightly so.
Yeah. All right. That's good. Yeah, it was surprising to see you guys go up 1-0, but knowing Arsenal and knowing again a lot about Southampton, I knew that league was going to be tough for y'all to hang on to. And I was not surprised when 3 seconds later, Arsenal put the ball in the back of the net. And I was like, oh, well, here we go. But it's progress compared to Bournemouth last week. But, that's how football is. Like, let me look at this game. I want to compare a game to like Forest, right? So this week, Forest tied with Chelsea, right? And then, but last week, let me go to Forest. Scroll. Maybe I passed it. Last week, Forest. They lost to Fulham, and a lot of their fans, I guess, were disappointed and expected them to. But you play different styles to different teams. Like like Bournemouth. I'm sure you guys thought you could win that.
Yeah.
So you went for it, and then
we went for it without playing any strikers. But yeah,
yeah, and Forest played Fulham and lost last week, but they played Chelsea in a completely different way and almost like won the game. They got points, 1-1, and they played without your boy Ward-Prowse. What do you think about that Ward-Prowse play? Did he do the right thing?
Yeah, I think at 1-1, and the players, because I mean he messed up by slipping up. So by slipping, he then looks at, right, there's no one else behind him. If the player runs, was it Madueke?
Yeah, and he's fast. It's Madueke and he's fast.
So it's like if he's in, that could be 2-1, and that could be game over. There's still a lot of time left, but well, enough time left to turn it back. But I mean, yeah, I mean, he knows what he's doing. It's definitely a red.
You kind of had two defenders there. You had people in the
They could have
vicinity.
come across, but like you say, he's quick, so it's in the balance. But I can see why he did it. It's still a little bit silly, because you back your goalkeeper to maybe do something there as well. But yeah, he made his decision, and I was impressed by Forest, the fact that even after the sending off, they still had two great chances with 10 men to win this game, and Sanchez, credit to him, pulled off two really high class saves. And then at the other end, their own keeper pulled off a great save as well. Like, it was, I really enjoyed watching this game because both teams were trying to win it.
And Neil joined us at the right time because he's a Chelsea fan. And I have some questions, bro. I have some questions. Like I feel like I've identified your Willian for this team, and I'm gonna start my defense of this guy. I don't know ultimately who's gonna win, but I believe so my Willian for this new Chelsea team, and Willian is the guy that I like on Chelsea that Neil is against on Chelsea. That's who the Willian is. And now it's Sanchez. Sanchez made some Gordon Banks world-class saves this game. Yeah. Are you changing your mind, or you still got him in the Willian category? Like, he did his thing this game. What's up?
No, I mean, my point with Sanchez has always been like, first off, when we got him, I felt like that was such a lateral move. Like, I didn't feel he's taking the team any way forward. And that was kind of proven by the fact that he kind of lost his spot on the team to the starting goalkeeper from Pittsburgh. and who's now, back on loan in France, Jordi Petrovic. And now he's starting again, but he seems to be like, and this seems to be always on the guy with the most question marks on him, because we keep buying these keepers, we have like 8 keepers on our books.
That's it? I thought you had more, but all right. It's actually lower number than I thought.
Yeah, and I think now that we have a good sample set of seeing him, because we never really got to see him a lot in the first season, because he started the season and then he was not there in preseason. He came in, started the season, then he got injured, and then he lost his place under Pochettino. And now we're seeing him, through preseason, and it's been like 7 games of the season. And his shot stopping, I think, has really come about. Like, that's really surprised me, that the area that I thought he was kind of weak at, he's really, given us not a lot of reasons to complain about. In fact, it's the area of the pitch. Wait a minute, let me get rid of this light thing. The area of the pitch which had to be his strength, right? His ball playing. That's where he's making a few mistakes almost every game, which I feel like every keeper makes. Like, I've seen Alisson, all the best of the best when it comes to ball playing, make these mistakes. But the frequency with Robert Sanchez is just greater. So that could just be a communication issue with the new backline, with the new manager, his ideas, and him getting on board. Or it could just be what Bobby Sanchez is all about. So we'll find out through the course of the season whether that frequency, that ratio changes. But so yeah, he's on the Willian spectrum. How far, what end of it he's on? Like, is he the Willian Champions League quarterfinal against Barcelona 2015, where Willian was like, he's really good. But so we'll see where he falls.
Who's your other Willian candidates for this team?
Enzo.
Who else is on the Willian spectrum?
Enzo.
All right, that's fair enough. I won't defend him.
Who else? Cucurella was threatening to be there very hard. My qualification for somebody being a villain is when you're not good on your primary job and you're kind of good on your secondary job and you're really good on your tertiary job. So you still stick around the team, but you're literally hogging resources that could be used, better used elsewhere. And no fault of yours. Again, these are all really hard workers, really good tries, and really good squad men. But they're starting more than I would ideally like a team like Chelsea. So,
all right. There's more Chelsea. I do want to talk about this game more. I do want to talk about Chelsea not being able to beat 10 men. I mean, that's fine. But I do like Chelsea. I do think this is a perfect situation for Cole Palmer. This would never happen for him at Man City. And sometimes the football universe God takes over and says, I'm going to put this person here so that they can excel and be the best. I like Mudrik. He scored this week. And because I want him to stay on the pitch for Chelsea because he's great to watch, and especially combining with Cole Palmer. The only issue I have with Mudrik is that he doesn't have a name that I can pronounce as well as I should pronounce it. Also, I feel like he needs a new barber. Those braids are ridiculous. You know your braids are bad when you wear a headband. Like that's the pure sign that.
No,
bro,
I used to think that's the case, but then I saw him walk into England training without the headband. He needs the headband at all times. He has the worst, like the hairline to forehead transition.
That's
I've
what
ever
I'm
seen.
saying.
It's like a Hall of Famer.
Like his barber's like, no, it looks good. Keep it. And his barber should be like, yo, let's just shave it. And then I'll just keep it. Yeah. He might just bro, man.
No, he needs one of those.
And the locks are probably slowing him down. He's fast. So he thinks it's not slowing him down. But aerodynamically, he could be even faster than he actually is. So I mean, hey, bro, I had dreads before. The ratio was bad up there, and I had to lose it. So
he has a lot of hair. He needs one of those TikTok barbers who'll do like a transformation of you and pull some of your hair front and make it blend really well.
Oh no, the Philly dye.
He needs one of those.
So how do you feel this game went for you as a Chelsea fan, and how are you feeling about the result?
I mean, obviously not a good place to be in to not get the 3 points versus Forest, but I feel like this is one of those games where if I have to draw, this is the kind of draw I would be okay with, because I think the team tried. This is, I think, statistically the second best defense in the country. Just after Liverpool, and they are really tight, and they're tough to break down. And this is the kind of challenge. We scored a lot of goals versus Wolves. We scored a lot of goals versus Brighton. And this is the completely opposite end of the defensive spectrum. They're not going to be open at all. They're going to be really compact. And the team is going to come up against these challenges. And, this is one such challenge. And I don't think we completely succeeded. But I don't think we completely failed either, because we did create a lot of chances. Another day, the Nkunku header or the Palmer double strike, which was saved by the keeper, some of those go in another day.
Great cross by Mudrik. That's probably the best cross that he's done for Chelsea since he's had speed and always went down that side and just done nothing with the ball. So just give him props for at least getting the ball to another player on his team in a dangerous area. Give him props for that.
Yeah, Mudrik, and he's really fallen down the pecking order. He could slot into the Willian template too, but he doesn't work that hard, so maybe not even Willian. So, but these are kind of the games he needs, because he's never going to start in the Premier League for a while now. So when he comes on, He needs to really take advantage and get something going. And he did that. He did everything he could. It was down to Nkunku to execute, maybe, get the direction. It's really tough when you don't have a lot of time and you just have to have an instinctive header in. But yeah, Mudrik did his thing. And Madueke, like, you guys were just speaking about him. He's been getting a little bit of stick from the fan base, that he's not as much of a team player. Because the thing with Madueke is he's always looking to take the shot. And he's not always looking up if there's a teammate in a better position. And he started this game also doing the same thing. But then you saw that finish, right? He backs his own talent. And I'm okay with that, with a winger, a young winger, always backing himself to take the shot on. Maybe
he's ambidextrous, right?
Well, he's looking ambidextrous this season. Like last season, it was always cutting in on his left foot. But if you see the goals that he scored against the hat-trick he got against Wolves, I think all the goals were on his right foot.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
I feel like I feel like that's part of his game he's really developed in the last year and a half. So yeah, I'm fine with the result, like a 1-1.
How did Sancho play? Because I didn't see this game. I just saw the highlights.
Sancho, I mean, he had a good battle against Ola Aina on that right-hand side. And I think he had some good moments. Aina had some good moments. But the link-up was there. Like him, Jackson, Madueke, Palmer, that link-up was pretty fluid to see. But again, like Forest was so deep in that low block, and especially when they lost a man, that beyond a point you don't really have a lot of space to do. So
all right.
Yeah.
I want to give Murillo some props too. Like he's just an animal. Like as a prototype for like a defender, like he's pretty savage, man. He's like, I run this shit, and I don't even know if he's their captain, but he plays like one. So I'll give him props for that. That's all I can think of. You got anything for Neil on this one, Lee?
Not really, no. It's I mean, I said it was earlier, it was before Neil hopped on. It was it's interesting to see a team like Forest just trying to keep going for the win, even with 10 men, and that's where we were on the topic of Sanchez's performance when as you came in, and 2 big saves. So yeah, it's where are you guys in the league after that?
I think we're still fourth. We're still holding on because Villa drew 2, and
you're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. And it looked like Tottenham's getting close because when they went up 2-0. I don't know if you already spoke about.
No, we're going to talk about that game next. Cool. That's next. So listen, man, we like to have some dessert on
the
this
main event
show.
Is fourth at this point in line with your expectations of where you thought you'd be at this stage? It's still early, but
see, I feel like this team, I still consider this to be a social experiment. So for me, like when I watch any of these series which are like social experiments, I don't tune in expecting anything. The whole point is you don't know what to expect. So I think we veered a little bit closer to being a real football club, because at least Maresca is being consistent with his teams, and I can see some consistent footballing logic. So, but we'll see, like once we are at the midway point. My feeling is like we finished 6th last time, and I really feel we are very close to being 4th. So ideally we should be at least knocking on the top 4 or getting in there and taking advantage of if any of those teams who finished higher than us last season, if they slip. But yeah, it's tough to have any expectations at this point. Like once we're halfway point, then we'll have some expectations.
I feel like that's your stance because you're just trying to protect your heart and you don't want to get hurt by this team. So this is like a defensive way of looking at Chelsea, just in case they are not good.
No, because this team doesn't have my heart.
I know, but how do they not? You got Cole Palmer, Mudrik. Now you got Sancho. You talked about the fluidity. That's like a dream attacking force. You got Jackson, and every week somebody is doing something.
No, I'll this team will have my heart. It'll have my connection only when I have some sort of trust in the fact that this will be the team. Like next summer, 150 million offer comes in for Cole Palmer. I have no trust that he's going to be a Chelsea player after that. I have no trust that the owners won't just sell him for pure profit. So, let the team be a team for a while, and then I'll. That's why like the 19 game point is really critical to me, because then at that point I feel like the table doesn't lie.
The 19 what?
Like half the season when you've played every team once,
right?
Then I can say that hey, okay, so this is where that level is at.
All right, and I want to go off-roading a little bit to the Italian league, because I did want to. I didn't ask you this on the phone when we talk sometimes, but I'm gonna guess that the team that you watch the most in Italy is Milan.
Yeah.
Because if there's a team that should have your heart, it's Milan, because they got all your players.
Yeah.
It's all
now it's everybody, because Tammy moved there too.
Yes. Tammy, you got Pulsic, Tomori, Loftus-Cheek, like all
even Giroud.
Giroud. Didn't no, I think Giroud must have he left.
Oh yeah, Giroud left.
You went to LAFC. Yeah.
LAFC,
yeah. Morata.
Well,
yeah, I know, but still, ex-Chelsea
player.
Don't
want to claim him.
You don't want to claim him, but he there. And then I'm watching the highlights of this game, and and Pulsic is going off in the Italian league. He's scoring. They didn't win, but guess who was watching the game? Who's ex-Chelsea? Adrian Mutu. And it's crazy because I was kind of thinking about him this week and like how great he was and how we messed up at Chelsea to the point like he had to leave the league. And then he was at this game watching. And so it's like much Chelsea.
He played in Italy.
Yeah. He played for Fiorentina after the ban. Because what did he do at Chelsea again? Neil?
It was some sort of
doping.
Was
it cocaine?
Yeah, I think it was cocaine.
I think there was cocaine as well. Yeah. It wasn't great for him.
Yeah, but he's now assistant manager in the Romanian juniors teams, something like that. I think so. He's cleaned up.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. Like he was a baller, right? He was like technically gifted, right? Yeah. But he messed it up. So good for him.
And also Milan, just to like really double down on claiming my heart, they also got the cricket jerseys on.
They got what? The cricket jersey. Oh yeah,
remember? Yeah. So then
they just lost in those.
They're originally founded as a cricket club. So then this season's away kit is a tribute to their origins as a cricket club.
And I did want to check on another.
I'm not making this up. This is actually
no.
You did.
Yeah. So if people go look.
It's because they were founded by English and Swiss. Immigrants. That's why they got the like St. George's Cross on there. Because that's why Inter, because AC would only let English and Swiss people play for them.
Right.
So Inter were like the international club. It was anyone of any nationality can play for us, kind of thing. So it's some interesting histories.
Oh, that's dope. I didn't even know most of that. So that's great. Moise Kean also plays. Well, he played for Fiorentina, but he's got no Chelsea connections, right? You got to check with these players because Neil might be like, yeah. Well, when he was 6, he was in our academy and played 2 weeks. So he played for Fiorentina. He went off too, but I do know him mainly from Everton. But he's So no relation.
I mean, he did go to Everton, I think, when Ancelotti was manager there. So
Okay. Oh yeah, there you go. I knew there had to be some degree of separation. Like Cobram is, what's the name of that guy?
Cobram.
Yeah. Sorry, my bad. Yeah. What's the name of that guy that they played a degree of separation with, the actor?
Oh, I know you're talking about Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. Well, Cobram is Kevin Bacon in the world of football. because something happened there that happens to everyone. Now let's talk about. Let's have some dessert. You know what I'm saying? Let's have some fun. Go ahead.
Just quickly on the Fiorentina game, how are you not mentioning David De Gea's
double
penalty
I
save?
forgot. First of all, there was 3 penalties.
I thought that's where you were going with talking about that game.
You know what?
Bringing up your old.
I forgot. I wrote it down. I was looking in the wrong section. His name is there. So speaking of X's, yo, my man's David De Gea, who barely saved. He was in a Europa League final and didn't save none of 11 penalties.
Well, comes to one in his entire United career, which was what, over a decade,
right?
Yeah.
He only ever saved 3 penalties in total.
Wow.
Yes, exactly. Wow. And all of a sudden, this motherfucker, who I'm giving props, I like him, saved 2 in one game. 2.
They were good penalty saves as well. They weren't like crap penalties where they hit it at him or anything. Like, he got down in the corners.
Yeah. So he plays for Fiorentina now. I'm glad he landed somewhere, and this was like a Premier League game. This Fiorentina versus Milan matchup. There are like so many people you can identify. Like, oh, that guy.
Yeah.
And David Gea is at Fiorentina, and shit, he proved that he belongs there. And they won. And yeah, thanks for reminding me of that, Lee, because I forgot. Because I was like, I'm gonna bring that up, and then so let's have some dessert. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about that Brighton versus Tottenham. Like, sometimes Spursy takes the whole season to be Spursy, but in this game, they just waited till the second half to be Spursy. They start the game against Brighton 2-0, playing them off the park. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like to the point where that Brighton coach probably hit everybody with a hairdryer halftime. Like, the whole squad got the hairdryer treatment. But I don't know what he said, but it was on point and it hit. And Brighton came out playing completely different attitudinal football and took it to Tottenham and beat Tottenham 3-2. And I was shocked. But what do you guys feel about these results? Pile on.
Oh, seeing that post-match interview with Ange Postecoglou was like, that was delicious. That was he couldn't even look at the interviewer or the camera. He was just facing the floor the whole time. Like, yeah, it was just, yeah, he the full realization of the fact that, you know, Spurs are gonna Spurs just hit him like a bus in that game. Because that was just beautiful. I hope it messes him up for the season now as well. Because I don't want to see him get his famous second season trophy, whether it's the Europa or what. I don't care. I don't want to see him get anything. I don't want to see him get Champions League spot. I don't want to see him get the top 4. So this game was great just because of how cocky they were as well. Like, Maddison, when he scored, he was telling the cameraman to face him so he could do his little dart celebration and stuff. I'm like, nah, this game ain't won. This, it's just that was the epitome of Spursy, and just some of the performances at the back for them as well. Like that final goal as well, where the Brighton player Ruter just wanted that ball more when he essentially assisted the goal with a slide tackle to get that cross in for Welbeck. And, you know, Welbeck, Uncle Welbeck, he's, you know, the old man of the
Johnny
Brighton
Evans
team.
age.
And, you know, he's having a great season. He's loving life. So yeah, it was brilliant to see, because I was watching that game live as well on TV, and when they got one back, I was like, oh, hello, and then they got another back, and I was like, yes, here we go, it's coming. And when that third one went in, I cheered it like a Southampton goal. I got to take some joy from something this season.
I know, right? Yeah, that surprised me. Like, I was watching this game, but for some reason I was like mad sleepy because I'd woken up. I forgot what day this game was. Was it Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday.
But I just went to bed late and I woke up and saw the first game. And then this was the last game. So then I was like, so I'd wake up like on each goal. So I wake up, Spurs got a one. I wake up, Spurs got two. I'm watching, I doze off. I wake up, it's second half. Brighton pull one back. All right, this guy's might get interesting. That's good, but I still feel like Tottenham got this. I didn't even know I fell asleep until I woke up for it to be in 2-2. The goal went in, and then I dozed off again. I'm struggling. I'm fighting this sleep because I should be watching this match. And then the third Brighton goal wakes me up, and I'm like, oh shit. And I'm just happy because Tottenham just beat Man United the week before, and I just don't want them to leave the pack and just stunt on you. Like now, anything they win is an affront to me as a United fan. So just to, even if it's Brighton, and I always think that Brighton is overrated for some reason. I just think this coach, he hasn't. I feel like it's unjustifiable. But I just think, I just have a feeling that he's not as good as they think he is. But in the first half, he proved me right. But then his second half was like, all right, I got to give him his props. He did something. You got any thoughts on this game, Neil?
No, I actually only saw the good half, because I wasn't really planning on watching the game. But then when I start getting the updates, like, oh boy, this is something. This is gonna be something. And I found it really interesting after the game that Postecoglou, he was kind of like, his whole point is like, this is so unacceptable that I don't even know where to begin. But I clearly remember when you remember the game when he played against Chelsea and he continued playing a high line with 9 men.
Right.
And it seemed so ridiculous that they would do that, but he kept defending it like that's just how we play, mate. And I feel like that was the managerial equivalent of what the players did this time. So I'm like, you should probably have the same attitude. How nonchalant you were to, being completely oblivious to the game state in that game. And now it's like so difficult for you to comprehend how that line of thinking, that attitude can permeate through the squad. And the squad, like the players, can end up being having that same attitude. Like if you can't draw the line between those two dots, I think they have like a bigger problem there. And here's the thing, like with a manager like Postecoglou, the good thing is, unlike a lot of other managers, he's not trying to like, show off his managerial skills to like position himself for a bigger job. He genuinely believes this is the way to go at Tottenham. And they are going to have games like this due to that reason, so I don't really feel like things are really going to change. They're going to have such games. They're going to have games where they look absolutely amazing. They're going to have halves where they look absolutely amazing, like they did, right? That first half was proper Ange ball. And yeah, I think they should, like, as a fan base, just accept the fact that this is who they're going to be for the near future. And just hope they sneak by 6th or 7th, maybe play the Conference League every once in a while.
I mean, the description of Lee talking about Pos standing there with his head down just reminds me, like, that fat kid in school that's in trouble and they have to explain themselves to the teacher. That's what Pos looks like, the adult version of that fat kid in school that's in trouble. It's like, well, I know I shouldn't have went in there, but we went in there anyway. What do you suggest? Is that when Tottenham has a 2-goal lead, should they turn into Conte? Like, what do the Tottenham fans want? Did they want them to be like Conte at Chelsea in his first season, or like more like Mourinho? Like Mourinho used to send the team out to attack, get 1 goal or 2, and then
John Obi Mikel.
Yeah, and then low block.
Mikel warm up. And you knew when Mikel's warming up, the game's done.
So
you can go home.
Padlock is coming on onto the gate.
Yeah.
Mikel was a nail in the coffin.
Yeah,
The
Mikel was the bus conductor.
The roof sealer. That's funny.
But my point is like, fine, you don't want to play that way. You shouldn't probably play that way if that's not natural to you. But no matter what way you play, you should have a way to defend a 2-0 lead, right? Like you can't just say I'll play in a way that we have no solutions to defend a 2-0 lead. I'm pretty sure that's not what Postecoglou is thinking. So it'll be interesting the next time they're up a goal, 2 goals, against the opposition. What kind of, like, even within their natural way of playing, they should have a way to do that.
His way of defending a 2-goal lead is getting another goal. That's his way. But I was listening to Talk Sport, and one of the fans that went to the game called in, and they were like, when the Brighton coach told his players to apply more pressure, it discombobulated Tottenham, and their players did not adjust to this new wave of pressure, and that the Brighton coach did something and Post didn't do anything. So he didn't like that. Post was just standing there watching the whole thing fall apart. It's like watching your house on fire, without trying to run in with a bucket of water or something to do anything.
So, yeah, I was trying to see the stats between the first half and the second half. It seems like
momentum shifts are so big in football. Like it's such a hard thing to stop once it gets in motion.
Yeah.
But that's, if you're a manager, that's what you're paid the money to do. You got to try and stem that tide. It's not easy.
Yeah, even United, as bad as we are, we stopped a big momentum shift with only 10 men in Porto midweek, with pressure on the coach, the world watching. Like you got to give our players that at least. Yeah, but everybody knows it's not just a momentum shift. It's just like how people feel about Post's stubborn approach over last season and this season. Like that game that you mentioned, what playing the same way with 9 men, there is a line. It does stick with people, and they do feel like anytime he loses, which he's lost 10 times, I think, from a 2-0 lead. Like that's not a little bit amount of that's a lot of 3 points thrown away. It's not lost, just not maybe won the game. So I'm not sure about that stat, but there's been about 10 games where they didn't win from a 2-goal lead.
Yeah, that's in Premier League history, though. I think not under Ange.
Oh, word. Oh, that's in Spurs period. So why would they even bring that up? Because they're saying Spursy period.
It's in the nature of the team.
Oh, okay. It's in the DNA.
Yeah, that's it. Spurs DNA.
The way you said that. I just want to give Fulham props for going at Man City, and it didn't work. But I love seeing the old Wolves players combine, Traore and Jimenez going back at it, and
that was
being
that
effective.
assist.
Yeah, that assist, ex-Man United players scoring. And how much do you believe that assist, the way it bobbled like that up in the air over those defenders, right? How much do you think it was on purpose?
Luck. It's really tough to say.
Y'all don't think Jimenez got it like that?
I mean, I thought it was intentional, but I mean, it's a sphere on a flat surface. Like there's always going to be a little element of luck.
And Traore got to work on his finishing, because him alone could have scored more than he could have been the Haaland of the day in a Man City game.
He burned some of those defenders. He made Kyle Walker look slow.
That's what the Walker Traore race. How many of you knew? How many of you knew that Kyle Walker could get beat by Traore?
Hey, I'm
But
backing the man who is absolutely jacked and covered in Diddy lotion to beat Carl Walker. That's the man I'm backing. He's greased up.
That's hilarious.
I don't know if any of you saw as well, Pep coaching him on the field after the game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
like Pep
Traore, yeah.
was in the middle of the field with Traore because Traore came through at Barca as well. He came through La Masia. So I don't know if they know each other from there, or at least they can converse in Spanish or Catalan or whatever. And yeah, he was coaching him in the middle of the field, like body shape and how you should finish those chances, you could see. And I think Guardiola he has a tendency to do that. Like he likes performing for the cameras, because like that you could be doing that you could be doing that inside in the tunnel.
How is he going to do it in the tunnel? I like
just
that.
wait for him. Wait for him in the tunnel. And then it's not like it looked like a school teacher like dealing with one of the slow children or something.
Nah,
Make
man.
an example of him.
I feel that's great. Like I feel like for him to like say, "Hey, man, now that we've won, let me tell you what you should have did." And who's Fulham playing next week? Is Fulham playing in 2 weeks? Are they playing Arsenal? This is what I want you to do against Arsenal. I don't want you to miss these chances against Arsenal as they breathe down our neck. But
they got Villa next.
They got Villa next. Then get at Villa. Yeah, please take out Villa for me. And this is how. Here's the instructions. So, but I do like that. I don't think it's performative. I don't think they're gonna have much time in the tunnel to talk about it. And that shows how much Pep likes football. Also, when the charges came out against Diddy, Traore must be like, that's where all my baby oil went. And I knew there was a shipment supposed to hit me, and that's where it went.
But
he's bidding on the seized seized items.
Oh yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
Does that go to police auction?
Yeah, there goes a police auction. Yeah, they auction off. Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take that off your hands.
Hilarious.
Also, like Kyle Walker is 34 now. I feel like we still think like he's fast, but he's also 30. Age is gonna catch up with him at some point.
Or Traore. Who caught up with him first, Traore or age?
Walker, he's got good practice though. He's got like 3 baby mamas to run away from, so that's keeping him.
Oh yeah, I saw something about that.
Damn, Kyle.
There's something happening with the baby mamas, right? Like some scandal.
He got like 2 other women pregnant whilst he was with someone already. Like he got 2 separate women pregnant. He's. So
this is why he was trying to break lockdown left, right, center. Like this is the guy. Like after Boris Johnson, he was the number 2 guy who was breaking all the rules. COVID.
Yeah, he's literally too fast. Slow down, Kyle. Chill. You guys want to talk about the England squad a little bit? I don't even have it up here. Like, and then we can do fantasy league.
I want to talk about like the manager, the England manager.
Oh yeah. So the England manager, or just who's going to be fired as far as managers?
Well, no. So Lee Carlisle, right? Like I feel like he's doing. Sorry, Lee Carlisle or Carsley?
Carsley, I think.
Carsley.
Yeah. So I feel like. Do you think he has a shot at getting the permanent job if he keeps doing well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 2 games, 2 wins. I don't think we conceded a goal in those 2 games, but I mean, I think they need a bit more of a look at him. We've got 2 games coming up now. Again, they're not the toughest games. We've got Greece at Wembley, and then we play Finland away. And Finland was one of the games he had in his first 2 games. So I don't know how much we're going to learn here, but I mean, he shuffled the squad around as well, a little bit. So like Solanke is in now because he's playing at a bigger club. So it's I mean, he scored tons of goals for Bournemouth, couldn't get a call up. But he has played well for Spurs. So yeah, he's in there. Maguire's out, I think.
Yeah,
he was already not selected before the injury. Yeah, and then Mainu, I think, has been withdrawn.
Yeah.
And so is Konsa and Gibbs White as well. So he's had to shuffle it around a little bit. But he called up Agel Gomez again. So yeah, he's in there. It should be a good enough squad to get the job done. It's it's pretty strong.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of believing him, but I should just wait and see what he does with these games and other games. It'll be disappointing for them to waste all these matches on him and not appoint him, or for him to not convince them in this time, because then to waste 6 months when you could have had the guy that you should get in place. The only thing that will save that is if that person wasn't available anyway. I don't know who that person is. So
is
might as well
Bellingham
run
in
with
this squad this time?
Who?
Is Bellingham in the squad?
Yeah, I think he is. But I don't know if he's
he is. Yeah, I've got the squad up in front of me. Yeah,
so I guess the real question is how is he or any manager
who's going to be 10?
going
Is
to
it going to be
fit?
Bellingham?
Yeah, how are they going to fit in Bellingham and
Cole
Palmer
Palmer?
together?
We'll find out.
I say you don't even try that. I just pick. I want to see him pick a 10. 110.
I feel he should Palmer number 10, Jude number 8, Declan Rice number 6.
Yeah.
I guess
we'll see.
Jude is getting used to falling back a little bit because Real Madrid has so many outward, like attackers. Yeah. They're kind of like 8. You said 6 or 8?
Oh, Jude is the 8.
8. So they kind of 8 him a little bit anyway, and he was good defensively this weekend for Real Madrid. So yeah, maybe.
And he has the physicality to play as an 8.
Yeah.
Going back to whether Carlisle can get the job or not as well. I'll tell you someone who either wants this job or he wants a job full stop is Graham Potter.
Oh my God.
He's on every English TV program right now. He's been on Sky Sports Monday Night Football. He's been on BBC Match of the Day. Like, he's everywhere.
He's back on the dating apps.
Yeah, you'll probably you'll see him on Tinder as well. So he's putting himself out there right now. Like, he had a little bit of a quiet spell, obviously, after leaving the Chelsea job, but I think he's pretty much out there now. Like, hey, I'm available. I want to work. So that man is desperate for a job, I think.
So Graham Potter is finally over his breakup with Chelsea, and he's
looking for that rebound job.
He's looking for that rebound job. He's back on the interview dating apps, job apps, and he's out there. He's showing his legs on TV, trying to hook somebody.
Yeah, the turtleneck's back.
He looks different too. Like, he's changed something about his hair or something physically, like his hair. Yeah, so he looks like, he did the breakup diet. And he's hot again, fam.
To be fair, I don't think anyone looks healthy when they're managing Chelsea. That's not good for you.
Maresca's
ain't got any hair to lose.
Yeah.
Maresca's advantage is like nobody even knew that he's the manager of Chelsea. Like, I still have friends like until last week. Like, wait, who's your manager again? So I think he's nicely slid under the radar.
Maresca's mistake is that he made, or was forced to make, Enzo his captain. Yeah, that's the huge mistake. So should we do fantasy league and then bounce?
Yeah, let's get into it. It was a rough week altogether in fantasy football, because a lot of the big players.
A lot of the big players. And he got a yellow card.
Salah didn't do anything.
Saka did. Anybody?
Yeah. Saka did. Yeah, anyone that had Saka was laughing. I had Palmer, who got an assist. I had Mbumo, who got a penalty for Brentford. Yeah. Brentford as well. Shout out to them. Another fourth game in a row where they've scored within a minute or two of the kickoff, which is crazy. So yeah, I had Mbumo in there. I had Alisson for Liverpool, who got full clean sheet points and bonus points before he got injured. So he was in there. But yeah, I captained Haaland this week, which was a terrible decision. No points. Watkins couldn't score for me against Man United. So yeah, I had a very low scoring week, but most people did as well. Like Martin didn't gain on me. So, Martin gained 1 point on me. So he's still He's still 24 points behind me, so I'm happy with that. I slipped down from 6th to 8th. But Brian Avina is back on top. He slipped to 2nd last week, but Brian is back because he captained Saka. So he did. He made the right call.
How did you know, Brian? How did you know?
he had Havertz in there and Bumo as well.
You know that's a shot at Southampton when he captained Saka. That's disrespectful, and he knows you're Southampton. You know,
I don't blame him, to be honest. You know, if I had those players in my team, I would have done the same. I couldn't get them transferred in. Didn't have the budget, so yeah, you know, I was banking on Palmer having a worldy game against Forest, and you know, I got a bit excited when that chance came up when he spun the defender with that little
God,
flick.
that touch was almost as good as anything he did in
did he touch that, or was that the defender trying to get him?
No,
he touched it.
A little flick. Yeah, it's a little flick, and then obviously he had 2 bites at the cherry, and the keeper pulled off you know, a double save. So yeah, I thought that was the moment. I thought that was the moment I was getting my points.
Hats off to both of those keepers. You gave them props earlier on, but both of those keepers.
Yeah, Sells and Sanchez. So yeah, Brian's back on top in the fantasy football. Who Ahmad Zekri, who was number 1 last week, he slipped down, back down into 2nd. So yeah, it's competitive though. A couple of good weeks can move you up, a couple of good weeks can move you down, or a couple of bad weeks can move you down. So like Martin's had a couple of bad weeks.
Is it too late to even join? Like if I just want to play for kicks?
I can give you the code. We'll get you in. You can prop up the league, see if you can catch some of the bottom feeders.
Yeah, because now I have a little bit of free time, so you know I can play around and strategize.
Who's at the bottom of the league? Let's just hear, just in case.
You want to name and shame
them?
Wow.
Let's shame them.
Wow. Corbin Stowe is bottom, but he started
Corbin.
late, I think. No, shit. Game week 3. So he missed the first 2 game weeks.
No excuses, Corbin. Get it together, fam.
Whereas Jay Jaffrey does not have any excuse. He's 2nd bottom, and he's been in since week 1. So,
Jay, what type of football are you playing? NFL down there?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Who you got on your team? Mahomes? This is soccer, fam.
Like his team objectively wasn't that bad. Like he did okay or ish this week. Like he had Palmer, he had Virgil who got a clean sheet, he had Kudus who scored. He did have Udogie though. Obviously that wasn't great. And Edison letting 2 goals against Fulham, so didn't get any points. So yeah, he suffered a little bit, but yeah, he's had some rough weeks as well.
Liverpool lost their keeper this week. I don't know for how long, but he went out in the Crystal Palace game.
Yeah, Alisson. Apparently, it's he's to quote Wycliffe Jean, he's gone till November.
Oh damn!
So, yeah, he's
sorry to hear that, fam.
He's I think it's something muscular injury. So yeah, I'll reveal my transfer. I've got Alisson out and I've put Edison in because they got Man City have got Wolves and Southampton next, so I'm backing neither of those teams to score against them.
It's good. Damn. All right, that's the fantasy league. Just for me personally, this weekend I'll be in Edmonton at the comic strip. So if you're around there, you watch the pod, or if you ain't around there, tell some people. Come pull up to the show October 10th through 12th. Anything you guys want to plug?
No, just Lee Hudson comedy on socials, especially Instagram. I post all my clips or dates, etc. up there.
Anything, Neil?
No, yeah, back active on social media. Sawyer's Lawyer. Got some for you guys there.
Yeah, and watch Neil support the Chelsea project, the Chelsea experiment, and to see how it goes this season. Everybody, we love you. Be good to each other, and enjoy the international break. And we'll see you. Yeah, we'll probably see you next week. We'll see if we do one next week. We'll see if it makes sense. All right, y'all.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah. Cool.